This is CG Ruthless Sports. I will be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video.
All right, man. Kind of weird how this intro's been messing up lately with a lot of stuff on my laptop. But hey, welcome. One of my new co-hosts for a Tuesday afternoon show. We got my boy Jorge Sanchez. Tell the audience who you all about, bro, and tell them if you have like any other platform, bro.
All right, yeah. As you introduced me, I'm Jorge Sanchez. I'm just an up and coming guy. I have my own podcast called the Play by Play Podcast, and as of now, I am in school trying to pursue a little sports reporting gig or sports journalist gig. And I'm a Niner faithful like everybody else. I'm just here trying to have my mental health good because these Niners be stressing me out sometimes.
Speaking of Monday, that it wasn't as stressful, man. It was kind of like I slept better with no Colt McCoy nightmares.
No, exactly. It felt like a weird Monday because you felt like going into the game, like you felt real confident with the team because we have the weapons, we have everything intact, we have the coaching staff. It's just everything putting it together and doing what the blueprint says to do.
Yeah, we got all the talent. It just depends on how Shanahan does his play calling. But when you look at the talent-wise, bro, on paper, it's a legit Super Bowl contending team right there.
Yeah, exactly.
But when we saw some flashes on Monday night, what you thought of that performance? Did you think we can do a little bit better, or you think that there's still a little, perspective?
Honestly, that team we saw last night is the team we need to see going forward because – that team we saw last night or even anything before, we should be winning games. Like, I think we're honestly a big threat to the Eagles. Like, the Eagles haven't seen anyone like us because we are out of Kinlaw and Armstead. And, the interior D-line stepped up with Kevin Givens, T.Y. McGill. They stepped up real big in that interior for that run defense. And Demo was stepping up big time with Emmanuel Mosley coming down, Money Mo. He's been stepping up big time, even though they do test them. And, it's a 50-50 ball game when you go to that game. But I think he's been stepping up, and this defense reminds me of 2019.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, it's got that vibe because of the injuries and the depth chart we got. Like, if you remember, like, a while back, like, when it came down to those injuries at our defensive line, we went from guys like DeAndre Moore and other guys like Sheldon Day and quite a few other guys, dude. Like, our secondary, even though it wasn't, like, at its full potential, we had Sherman, who was a leader of that defense. But when you look at Diamado Lenore, like we were just talking about, he was one of my sleepers. A lot of people were saying, well, is it because you're biased because you know his sister personally on this little community? And I said, nah, that's not the case. He's got a blue chip on his shoulder. Like, the roster spot wasn't guaranteed for this guy. He had to prove something.
No, yeah. And exactly what you're saying is I feel like nobody had – like, Emmanuel Mosley had to make a name for himself on this defense. Then that's the truth. And I feel like that's an Emmanuel Mosley type player. Like, he's very physical. He wants the ball. And I feel like with him making a name to himself, I feel like he's going to be all right because if anybody notices, watching these games – they're going opposite of his way. They're targeting Charvarius Ward, Mooney. and nobody is real like underdogish because nobody's targeting him because I think they're afraid. And when he was getting those jump balls with D Hop, I think he was handling his own. Like that first one, he got a deflection.
Oh man, dude. You know, like Diamond Lenore is kind of like somebody that's kind of stepping up. Last year it was a work in progress, but I see the way he plays. He kind of has that little savviness, you know. He
Mm-hmm.
may give up some plays here and there, but when it comes down to the way he plays the game, bro, he plays more like a veteran out there. Like he kind of knows when to be in good coverage. I mean, he kind of does give me a little bit of that Emmanuel Mosley type vibe, a little bit, because Emmanuel Mosley in 2019, they didn't talk about him as much when he
Exactly.
started.
He's right there with him. He's right
Yeah,
there with him. It's that
and
year.
that Browns game was kind of a showcase of what he could be.
Yeah.
And Samuel Womack should now be playing slot. I don't care where Jimmy Ward goes at, bro. He can be the backup safety or play package. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like we already found a slot corner right there. Let's just put Womack out there.
Yeah. One of the big surprises of this season that will really change my mind because it's just I really thought coming into this year, Ambry Thomas was going to be a big name for us, but then they put in Lenore in, and he's been holding up. So I'm just like, we have that at the corner piece, so that's why I was devastated when E-Man went down, but I wasn't like afraid. Like when we lost E-Man and JV, I was like, we're gonna be all right because we got debt at this corner position. And then with Jimmy Ward, I mean, yeah, he likes being back there as safety or as the box safety. But then again, Tayshawn Gibson is really playing at a high level, and he's a 1 year rental. He's trying to prove himself that he can still play in this league, and he's been doing a phenomenal job at that. Even with Hufanga, even though Hufanga is still young and learning, and he's going to be an all pro regardless, he's going to be all right.
Yeah, you know, like when you look at Hufanga's game, there's some games where he kind of gets beat in coverage at times, but when
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes down to those plays, he'll make some key plays. He'll make some tackles. He'll make up for that type of stuff. Like everybody talks about his speed is concerning. The guy he's a gamer. Like when the guy gets opportunities to get interceptions, he makes the plays. No disrespect to Jaworski Tart or in any other way, he was a good tackler, a solid coverage guy. But when it came down to those moments, bro, he just never like got to capitalize it. Like that Rams game in the NFC Championship game, that
Yeah.
should have been in his hands. Maybe that could have been Hufanga making that play, and that would have been the difference maker.
No,
But
exactly. And with what you're saying is, I mean, any coverage guy is going to get beat here and there because they're trying to look out for their teammates. Because obviously you're playing safety and you got a deep third behind you, but sometimes you got to be looking down at, say, left corner. Okay, he got a deep third, but he also got beat, so he's kind of like biting it and he wants to go make that play. But sometimes it's just like let your teammate get beat and take the little yardage they give up, so you won't give up the big play behind you.
yeah, like the way they've been playing, like first half wise, you know, you see some of the plays they'll give up a little bit, but in the second half, they find some ways to adjust it. So that's the only difference. Like, have you noticed the difference how our secondary plays? Like, we may give up early on in the first half, but in the
Exactly.
second half, we give up the least amount of yards. And last 3 games, we haven't gave up a single score. So
Exactly.
this defense alone is collective. Yes, it would be nice to have Emmanuel Mosley back on the field because he's a difference maker, but
Yeah.
I like our depth chart. I like what we were seeing from Diamond Lenore. Lenore is like that one guy that everybody's sleeping on, and I'm glad they're sleeping on him because now he has an opportunity to capitalize and maybe make a case to be a starter next year.
No, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. This is his prove it years. Like, regardless of the situation, is gonna anybody. This is anybody's ball game, because on that defense is real nice, and yeah, we'll look, kind of suspect first half, but that's how we are. Because then comes out second half, D'Amico and the coaching staff just makes adjustments. All about adjustment and doing what we can do.
It's all about adjustments in some ways, bro. Like you may be down a few points here and there, but it's all about how we finish the games. And as much as a lot of people are criticizing how D'Amico Ryans calls these little play calls on defense, there's times where he's very much a genius, and then it's unpredictable. Like one thing I still don't understand is why are we putting our linebackers to cover certain receivers at times? Like there's no need to put Drake Greenlaw or any other of our linebackers to cover like another receiver like the Cardinals got. They had him cover Hopkins or another receiver, which I never understood. Like I can understand a tight end, but that's just a mismatch.
No, yeah, receiver wise, I mean, it goes both ways, really, because a linebacker to a receiver sometimes they can be a bigger body, and if they put a hand on them, you mess up their route. But I get what you're saying. If you have a speedy guy versus a linebacker, it's kind of a mismatch because everybody got their own guy. But I mean, with our backers back there with Fred, Aziz, and Dre Greenlaw back there, I mean, I think they're capable of doing that. It's just that I believe with the rumors saying that Armstead and Kinlaw might be making a comeback this week or even in the weeks coming, I feel like it all comes to the D line because if the D line is getting there, the coverage guys have more, like, I guess you can say, time to like recover or something.
Yeah, it does. It sure does, man. When you look at it this way, dude, it is like this team alone, when we get these guys coming back healthy, bro, like the defensive line, even without those two guys, we've actually made the most with our depth chart. Like guys like Kevin Givens and guys like Hassan Ridgeway, they've stood out and did pretty good job. But as soon as we get somebody, I mean, Kinlaw has had knee issues, and I'm not counting on this guy. But when you look at guys like Givens and Ridgeway have stepped up, it makes it feel like it's an afterthought, if I'm being honest, and we got the depth pieces to get there. Like Charles Amenahu, for example, this guy can play the defensive line spot just like Armstead does, but he's effective when you put him outside also. But if you can get Armstead back and put him inside, bro, this defense is already effective. We got Bosa out there. Samson Ebicom didn't even play last week. And
exactly, and we did what we did. Yeah. Just the thing is, I feel like this year is. I'm not saying that we're not going to be a threat years to come on, because I think we are, because we got guys locked up. But this year is the year to do something with it, because we have a lot of depth guys on contract years, and we might not be able to pay them all. So I say is like do what we can do best in this year. Alexa just turned on, but yeah, like I say we gotta make a run now. Well, like this year, I feel like we can make a big run. Like even we can be Super Bowl contenders because we have Ayuk coming out of his hole. Jimmy's playing at a high level, and we just got to get our pieces involved. We have way too many pieces just to shut down and let somebody beat us. If we're gonna lose, it's gonna be because of play calling. It's not gonna be because a team absolutely beat us.
I think it's got to do with Shanahan's play calling, because sometimes the one thing that kills us most of the time is when he makes this one play call that doesn't make any sense. Like when you're running the ball, why not just stick with it? If it's working, don't change it. But like you said, it depends on the play calls, and our defense has been holding up pretty tight. Like when you look at the way how D'Amico Ryans has put this team together and gel, we've overcome these injuries and we've had the quality depth pieces, like during the offseason, I was very critical on a lot of stuff on this team. I wasn't really sure about how we were going to overcome these adversities because of all the depth pieces we've had. I felt like that when we got these players, these were good depth pieces, but injuries started stacking up, and it started to just give me question marks how we're going to overcome this if we get to these other guys. And it hasn't led to that yet. But when you look at the offensive line, bro, that was the only question mark during this offseason was our 3 offensive line starters.
No, yeah, exactly. But once the draft came around and Aaron Banks, I knew he was going to come out and just do his thing. It's just that people are bashing on him for the little reps that he got. Like nobody's gonna learn with those reps. Like even with Trey Lance, no, he's not gonna learn with one game started or anything, because he was out for a whole year. And I feel like he's gonna get comfortable with his team, building chemistry and stuff. But with Spencer Burford, I feel like just when we drafted him, I had a good feeling that he was gonna be a dog.
Oh, dude, I went deep on this guy, and a lot of people were just surprised that we got this guy. I thought, hey, it wouldn't surprise me if he became a starter, Yeah. Like, what I like about him is he did play tackle, but he had experience playing guard, and that's what gave me the idea. Well, Shanahan likes versatility guys, and we get these guys all the time, and sometimes those are the kind of guys that start from day one. But a lot of our fans were thinking differently, like, he wouldn't start a rookie. Instead, they'll make an exceptional. Trust me, they'll make it exceptional. If you're that good on the field, they're going to play you. That's just how the game is. And to be fair, Aaron Banks actually learned just by sitting a year and actually learning from Lincoln Tomlinson. I think that's what really benefited Aaron Banks was learning from a guy like Tomlinson. He didn't need to be a starter right away.
Exactly, and that's what helped him out. Having an all-pro guard like that, or at least a Pro Bowl guard like that, and, take the wings. So I didn't really find the need to be worried when Tomlinson left to the Jets. But Burford, I mean, it's good that he's playing at a high level, but it's also good that we have Brunskill sitting, waiting, ready to go if we ever need him. You see Shanahan rotating him in and out, and they're both playing at a good level. We just got to see what works at best, because it throws defenses off. Like, oh, number 74 is in, now 60's in. What do we do? Like, they play both different.
Yeah, they do a lot of different stuff. Like, have you noticed how our offensive line just moves on those run plays, right? Like, we just saw a glimpse of what we do on Monday Night Football. Our center, which Brando, okay, he runs off like 30 yards down the field, right?
Yeah.
And he makes a clean block on one of the defenders, which is Budda Baker.
Yeah.
So I'll give credit where it's due. Maybe I might have motivated this guy. Maybe I might have pushed him further because he needed to step up his game a little bit, but I'll give credit where it's due. When you have athletic offensive linemen that can move down the field and make some clean blocks over there, that's what makes it so easy for those big runs. Since Boat is already talking about how our offensive line is built to run big plays, it's because our offensive linemen can move in space and actually open those lanes for our playmakers.
No, exactly. And he was a name that I was kind of iffy about, because I saw his things with his old teams and stuff, and he actually, I believe he was a Sac State transfer where I go to school. And I was like, Brando, I'm not big on him, but, I was kind of like, I'll give him a shot, because it's hard. It's a hard position to play center. It is, because you got to go against guys like Nick Dominican Sue. You got to go against guys like Aaron Donald when he plays on 3-tech. You got to go against a lot of good guys. So I was honestly worried, but I think he's held his own, honestly.
Yeah, he's kind of proven wise. When I saw the way he's played at the beginning of the season, I was on the fence on him. I was calling him out on Twitter and a lot of stuff. I kept calling how terrible of a blocker he is and all this stuff. And I guess he might have just saw what I said, and he just pushed the instant block button right there. So I started to make a response, and I said, instead of blocking me on Twitter, why not you work on that skills? Learn how to block on the field. And I guess those last few games, he's kind of stepped up his game a little bit. So I'll give him credit right there. He did run down the field. He made some key blocks. That's one thing I'll give credit where it's due. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that I don't like the player personally. I just don't like how he was making a lot of dumb mistakes. But maybe it's because of the inexperience, because he hasn't had much playing time. So maybe that's the way we look at it. Like, the experience does matter, and he got better as the season goes on. He just needs to work on being more of a veteran. Yeah. Oh, Watt got faceplant by Burford was amazing. Dude, Burford is just a one-of-a-kind talent, and I just happened to interview that guy. That guy is the most humblest person, but he plays a lot bigger than his size says, bro. Like, he can play guard. Plays guard at the highest level, but I don't think they're going to have to put him at tackle. I think he's going to stay at guard naturally. We'll probably just invest at tackle maybe next year. But when you look at the rest of the offensive linemen, Aaron Banks is just that one guy who's just emerged, just hasn't gave up a pressure, hasn't gave up a single sack. Does it make him consider a Pro Bowl candidate? I think so.
No, yeah, both our guards. I believe they should, like, honestly, the whole line. Even McGlinchey's been suspect, but he's had his days. But I mean, I think our O-line should be considered in the Pro Bowl at least. I think
not three of our guys, maybe, but not our center and tackle. Maybe just like solid contributors. But I look at
Williams, Banks, and Burford.
Yeah, those are pretty much all set. Yeah, like those other two are okay. They're like contributors, nothing special. They've done it.
I just feel like they made a name for themselves. They really stepped up. Even as a rookie, I think he should like deserve that and to be in that conversation. Because regardless, like if anybody saw that game last night, you saw how comfortable Jimmy just looked. Jimmy just looked comfortable in that pocket because he knew his old lineman had him. It looked like he had, because I'm a former offensive lineman myself, and they always teach that you got to give the quarterback at least 3 to 5 seconds, and Jimmy had at least 6 seconds in that pocket.
Enough time, dude, to where he can run a little bit and check and see if somebody's open. Like you're starting to see Jimmy Garoppolo starting to find those other options. Because before he would throw the ball away or make some weird move, like weird throw.
Exactly, like that first touchdown to Ayuk. If you go back and review that play, you see that he looked at McCaffrey first, but he saw he had one of the defenders beat, but he saw the linebacker was going to bite in on McCaffrey, so he changed to his other option. So I feel like just giving Jimmy enough time and executing the plays that Shanahan gives us, or gives them at least, we will make a deep run in playoffs. And I honestly think that we'll sweep the NFC West. We're already 4-0. We just got to keep handling business.
Yeah, we definitely do. When you look at the way we're playing as a collective team, dude, it's like, yeah, it just tells you how this line is, bro. Like the depth is pretty solid. Like, we know what Brunskill can be when he gets his opportunity to play. You can put him at swing tackle, put him at guard. Jalen Moore and McKivitz are kind of like capable, serviceable guys you can plug in if injuries happen. Like I've seen what I got with those guys. It's just like, it's always important to have quality depth. And the more time Jimmy has in the pocket, I think the more he starts to find a lot of that stuff, like those open receivers and all that stuff.
No, and that's the truth, because last night was probably one of the best performances Jimmy has put up as a Niner. He's never thrown 4 touchdown passes as a Niner. I think the most was 3, but they were like kind of forced. Yesterday looked like he was poised. He's ready. He is playing at a high level right now because I think he wants to earn a contract. If it's not with San Fran, it's going to be with elsewhere. Honestly, I think he teams up with Josh McDaniels in Las Vegas again, and I just think he wants to show that he still has it in the tank. And if you look at our schedule going on, I think we can make a big run like we did last year.
Oh, dude, the schedule seems favorable down the stretch. Like, I just don't see no other reason why we should miss the playoffs. We should be able to take care of our own destiny in this situation. But like I've said before, like, this is Jimmy G's opportunity to cash in. I don't know if he should go to Las Vegas because they got Derek Carr. Unless they trade Derek Carr, then I can see Josh McDaniel going for that guy. I get it because they work together in New England. That's like a match made in heaven. Maybe the Colts, because they keep going after these old quarterbacks. They think, we can turn this fortune around. The Commanders, they're stuck with wins otherwise. I don't know.
No, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of Raider fans and a lot of friends that are Raider fans. My apologies.
I know a lot of people, too, that are like that same way. Like, I've interacted with a lot of them in my family. They always tell me that some of them do like Carr, but then some of them are saying it's time to move on when you have a change of regime and all that stuff.
No, exactly. But I just think if Jimmy is going to leave or just walk, or if he takes even a backup role for a cheaper deal, like, he's going to be ready to play, because if you think about it, he is a real professional, because all of us faithful were bashing on him. At least some of us were saying like, "Oh, trade him, trade him." And when we found out Trey Lance was going to come in, and even when Trey Lance went down with an ankle injury, Jimmy came in poised, and it was like what first quarter of that Seahawks game came in, the defense helped him out. He did what it was he had to do, and he won that game. And then I feel like if we didn't have Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup, we wouldn't be in the position that we are in now because we would be struggling. He knows the system; he's been in it.
And the weird part about Jimmy is he didn't have to spend much of the offseason learning his offense. He was just being left alone, recovering. And quite a few teams, maybe like the Colts, might have regret going for Matt Ryan. Maybe a team like the Commanders might have regretted. There's some teams that should have got the chance for Jimmy Garoppolo, but for whatever reason, they were all concerned about his shoulder. Like, oh, he's coming off of shoulder surgery. I don't know if that's the case. You know, I don't want to take a chance on an injury guy. But when you look at the Colts' track record, they've actually taken chances with injured quarterbacks. So that's hypocritical. They could have got Jimmy G for whatever the worth was. They pretty much went down as the dumbest team in football, bro. Like, you haven't been relevant since freaking Andrew Luck has been your quarterback, and you got this guy injured miserably, bro. Like, I don't understand what the Colts are even thinking. You need to go for a young quarterback and invest your young quarterback with protection next time. That's just legitimate facts how I look at it. But when you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, despite what happens with this guy, bro, he could have just been to the Niners and say, no, I want to get out. Release me. Because most players like him, I would not blame him for that shit.
Yeah, because he was getting like all the hate. He was like he even had a goodbye press conference. He said goodbye to all of us.
Yep.
But then he kept his poise because he knew what was gonna come. Well, no one wishes injury upon others, but he knew that his time was gonna come. And the thing that the Commanders, the Colts, etc., what they messed up is if Jimmy comes out and wins the Niners a Super Bowl, they messed up because now he's going to want even more money. Even though at his age, he's going to be like, nope, give me my bag. I just won a Super Bowl.
That's just like him cashing in like Nick Foles. Like, I think Nick Foles during last year, like during the Super Bowl in 2017, that's what the year he kind of cashed in. So
yeah, he cashed in. He got his bag. He's a backup quarterback and getting paid a lot. And regardless if Jimmy is a starting or backup quarterback, he's going to get his money because this is probably the best year he's had as a Niner. He was 11. He had an 11-4 ratio as of last night before the game. 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And now he's probably at 15-4. That's a good track record right there for a year at least.
I mean, as far as him being professional, it's like this guy plays it, and you know his value is going to go up more. Like winning the Super Bowl, okay, let's say hypothetically he wins the Super Bowl, that's going to increase his value even more. He'll cash in. And I don't even think the Niners are going to even bother to even re-sign this guy unless he takes another discount deal, which he ain't going to do it, bro.
Exactly. He's going to want his money.
This is like the final opportunity for him to cash out elsewhere. And I think it's going to have to come down to a team that can build around him and have something similar, like build a kind of winning commodity out there.
And exactly. And the thing is, like, I know we're talking about next season, but next season, once Trey is healthy, ready to go, he has a lot of weapons. We have McCaffrey on contract till 2026. We have Debo on contract for another 2 years after this. We have freaking Kittle up to 2025, and we would need to re-sign Ayuk. But regardless, he's still going to have the weapons he has today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's exactly what I'm saying, Boats. Like, I think he'll definitely get his money's worth because there's a lot of teams there's just going to be a lot of teams that are going to be desperate for quarterbacks. And if you can't get a quarterback in the draft, you might as well try to settle for a Jimmy G for the market value he's going to be. Mm-hmm. I think what will skyrocket Jimmy Garoppolo's value is you can sign this guy to a 3 or 4 year type contract, maybe 5 years if he can play that long.
Yeah.
And he might look in between maybe like a similar contract that he originally signed before, or maybe a little bit more. But it makes it so interesting that it depends on his performance, his performance contract, because it got restructured, but it kind of includes incentive contracts of his starts and the way he throws the ball and the games he wins. And it includes playoff bonus also, and Super Bowl included to it, and Pro Bowl. So he's pretty much gambling himself this year so he can get something.
He's betting on himself this year. He's at least trying to. I know behind the scenes, his team and family, everybody's telling him, like, even like between you and I, like, if we were in that position, our family would be like, "Go ball out, go show them that what you can do," because for God's sake, he was Tom Brady's backup, so I'm pretty sure Tom Brady showed him how to be a professional. Other than him already knowing, he showed him how to be a professional. And the thing is, everybody's mad about us trading away these picks and stuff, but they don't realize those picks are going to be a lot higher. Like the Trey Lance trade, those picks are going to be a lot higher than technically second-round picks, late first-rounders, because we're going to be in the playoffs every year. Like, this is the last year of the Trey Lance deal, and the Broncos are going to get the bad end of the stick because we're going to be in playoffs regardless.
I mean, the Broncos pretty much traded a lot for Seattle. Seattle just got the boatload of the deal. Yeah,
exactly.
But look at the Rams. They've tried to do this logic like for years. Now nobody wants to take trade offers for them anymore. It's like the Panthers are saying, nah, we'll pass.
No, exactly. And I just believe, I don't know. I don't want to be the first one to say it, but they might be on a downhill. Or who knows? Like, who knows if they're going to have Ramsey or Donald in a year or two? Because
that team is kind of like going through some collapse of the season, and it can lead to Donald maybe retiring. Ramsey's kind of like at the point of his career where he probably doesn't give a damn no more. He's already got a Super Bowl win. What does he need to prove at this point? He probably just wants to collect paycheck. Some players are like that. Hey, I want to get my money.
No, exactly. And I just feel like us as Niner fans and the team, I just feel like it's our time. Yeah, we were in the Super Bowl twice and we didn't execute. I just feel like Harbaugh should have ran it with Frank Gore in that first Super Bowl versus the Ravens, and we would have won a Super Bowl. And then the one versus the Chiefs, Shanahan ran away from the playbook. We were killing them on the run game, killing them.
Yeah, using Debo in those package plays. Dude, the way we were using Debo last year, that was going to be more effective if we would have kept it going. And now that defense are starting to figure out certain plays on Debo, now it's kind of becoming maybe a little bit effective. But if we would have used it more during that Super Bowl run, bro, I don't think the Chiefs would have even had a chance to beat us. But the way the play call was, you got to put the blame on the play calling from Shanahan. Like, there was no rigs, no BS crap, none of that. It's because we didn't do the right job on the play calling. Like, Shanahan was just getting cute, and that's what really killed the team. Like, defense did the job. It's just you can do so much on holding an offense that's good for so long. But if your offense doesn't step up to the plate, bro, it's going to be pretty tough to win a game.
Exactly. Then at that team, yeah, he could have got cute somehow because people didn't know our scheme. People didn't know what we were going to do. But I just don't think he has the weapons that he has now because as you saw, the Cardinals, they didn't know they had to pick and choose. All right, we're going to cover McCaffrey. All right, boom. That's 11 on 10. I'm going to go to Kittle. All right, Jimmy stepped up in the pocket, dumped it off to Kittle, and he did the rest. We just have too many weapons not to be putting up the points we did last night.
Yeah, we got the talent, so it's like you look at the draft picks, it don't mean nothing. Like, you can get a lot of these early round draft pick guys, and sometimes they don't turn out to be as good as everybody hopes for. Like, it can always be a sure thing with some of them, depending on how they fit your team. But to get a guy like Christian McCaffrey to give up for those draft capitals, it tells you how much the draft does become a crapshoot, because not all draft picks are going to be guaranteed successful. Like, like Jeff Wilson, for example, he was good on our system for a while, but getting him for a 5th round pick to me was more like we went for those late round gym values, which we do pretty good at.
Yeah.
when we get guys like Greenlaw and Kittle and so on with these other players, it kind of shows you how good we go deep in the draft instead.
Yeah, it shows that we do our scouting for those guys that are considered lower tier. Look at Elijah Mitchell. We have a power back in him. He comes in. You saw what he did last night. He came in. He got 30 to 40 yards easily in that drive he went in. It all comes down with executing. Yeah, and we're all going to miss Jeff Wilson, but we know that we turned him into a starting back. We turned him into.
He was undrafted too. He was an undrafted running back with maybe like a couple years later, he becomes the guy we could depend on, and he became exactly a perfect fit for the system. But he was going to be on a contract year, so if you had no use for this guy, you could at least get something in return while you can. Like I'm happy for him that he's doing good in Miami because that is a good move on their part. We still get to be able to we get to go with McCaffrey and still get something in return while we can. And I just like how we go deep in the fifth round. Like fifth round's always been our lucky pick. Like Hufanga. Hufanga is just a great example of a fifth round pick. This guy had second round grade or third round grade, whatever it was. He had ball hawk skills. Everybody was questioning his 40 time and whatever it was. And I felt like that was the most overrated part about that scouting report was, are we just looking at the speed or are we looking at the way he plays the game? Yeah, he might have been injured in college a little bit, but it changes, you know?
No, yeah, like I see right here what both said. Look at the real world difference between Wilson and CMC, and that's the truth. It's like it's not like he was going to live in a shadow, but Wilson deserves to get his touches, and he wasn't going to get that with Mitchell coming back and CMC being on the roster. Like we know what our backs are capable of. Like we have Jordan Mason sitting right there, ready to go if anything begs to differ, anything goes down. But I just feel like we can go on a serious run. Being number 3 in the NFC now, like we're going on a run like we did last year. Well, we were like 3-3 at the same time, and we
were at the start of 3-5 when we won that. When we were at that game against the Cardinals, that Monday night game was the turning point of our season, where we started off going 4-5, and we had some games down the stretch to win. This is exactly how we start off the season. Slow starts at times, but during the second half of the season, we tend to flip the switch a little bit.
Exactly, and we have veterans coming back. We have our captain of our second captain of our interior line coming back. I rather him get healthy right now. When if we're doing good, we're doing good. All right, man, go get healthy because we got a playoff push to go or to achieve at least because. Everybody counted us out last year, but the only ones who really believed were us, the fans. And that's all they care for. If we believe, they believe.
And what makes it so interesting about this Niners offense is we trust McCaffrey on those pass plays more than we do at Wilson, which we know Wilson's a capable receiving back also. But when we look at how Christian McCaffrey catches the ball, he has a higher percentage of getting that ball more than anybody else on our backfield.
No, yeah. When I saw the news about McCaffrey, I was excited. I was like, and for the price that we got him, like Boat says right here, back end, second, third, and fourth, that is a steal because you know, damn right, McCaffrey's at least 2 first rounders. So because people know what he can do. And, opposing coaches were afraid of us getting McCaffrey because Shanahan knows how to use him. Yeah. And Jimmy Garoppolo has a dump-off guy. Everybody saw last night when he was in trouble, boom, dumps it off to the right. He picks up at least 15 to 20 yards if he can.
Oh, see, what makes it so good about McCaffrey getting the ball off the backfield, it seems like somebody's going to tackle him, but he's a little bit quick on that play. And it's like, how the hell does he outrun that one defender, bro? It's mind-blowing how that guy is like, when you look at McCaffrey's type of talent, bro, he is like a slot receiver / running back, but he's just more of a running back. But if you give him those ball off those little screen passes, dude, he just makes everybody look foolish. Like something about him just makes it seem like this is worth the trade. And at the time, maybe it was a critical point of our season where if it didn't pay off for those wins, It wouldn't matter. I think his production on the field is speaking volume the way he is as a player.
Yeah, and exactly with on one of the plays, I forgot what quarter it was. I just remember McCaffrey going in the backfield and Jimmy switched it to an empty set. He sent McCaffrey to go be a slot receiver, and he ran his route and he caught it for at least a 15-yard gain. And I'm like, that's the things that Shanahan wanted Garoppolo to have, like that little security blanket. Other than Juwan Jennings, we just have weapons on weapons on weapons.
Yeah, and the scary part about it is Juwan Jennings is like another weapon on third downs too. Third down conversions, red zone. I mean, there's a lot of different ways we can involve our players, but sometimes it may be a question mark. Is it going to actually lead to those players actually demanding some more targets? You know, I'm hoping it stays the same because you never know. But if they care about winning at all costs, they're probably just going to have to do it for the team. So there might be some days where Juwan Jennings may have a great game and Juwan Jennings doesn't get much of a production. Or Ayuk may come off on a great game and Ayuk might not even get much of the targets, you know. It just has to depend on who produces, you know.
No, exactly. And Ayuk is turning into that guy, most definitely, because Ayuk is turning into the guy that we wanted when we drafted him. Turning into that route runner we needed, that kind of like that wide receiver one, because this is the second game that he scored 2 touchdowns. That it's just gonna keep adding up. And everybody knew George Kittle was in for a big game. And once George Kittle gets started, no one can stop him.
Yeah. And what makes it so interesting is George Kittle isn't quite a selfish player. Like some people may put at the media that he's asking for more targets from Shanahan. That's not the case. He said he would love to get more targets, but that's all misunderstood.
Yeah, exactly. Like he said it himself. Like he would love to get more targets, but he said if we're winning games and making a run, he'll keep doing what helps the team out.
Yeah, that's what we look at. Like George Kittle can be one. I can understand if he wanted to get more targets, but you can see the way he plays the game. He embraces blocking defenders. Like he said, it's more of a bonus, but he would do whatever it takes to win. Like in Iowa, when he played at Iowa, he was mostly asked to be more of a designated blocker more in his career, but he got some productions out of it at times. So he might fetch a bone here and there. But in San Francisco, he's still getting production. It's just not the same production that he had in his early years. Now we're hoping that maybe late in the season, maybe in a playoff run, we can get that old Kittle out, man. We can unleash that old Kittle.
I mean, we saw old Kittle last night, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Little clips.
Exactly. And that's what teams are just going to have to prepare harder for us coming into the playoffs, because we know what we're capable of, and I know this defense and this offense can do it. And I just feel like I feel good feeling that we're going to be Super Bowl contenders this year with everything going good.
Yeah, we got the ability. You know, there's a lot to complete. There's a lot to finish because the remaining schedules. And I know a lot of the media is hyping us as playoff teams and possibly winning our division, but it's not going to be a cakewalk when you have to deal with Seattle, who's still in the mix. You got a lot of other NFC teams that you might need to watch out for. I know we had our success against the Cowboys last year, but we'll just have to wait and see. You got the Eagles, who everybody's hyping this year because they're a pretty good football team. The Vikings, they're like an up and down team. They're looking good, but they lay an egg on the Cowboys, so maybe it's one of those games. But you look at the remaining of the NFC, they say it's a weak conference. Maybe they might, but you don't know. Like last year, everybody was talking about how tough the AFC was, and nobody won. So it's like, it don't matter. Like, I think whoever comes in the NFC as that one team to get to that Super Bowl is probably going to be the one that's going to be the most difficult to beat than the AFC. The AFC kind of seems like Kansas City is more like the clear favorite, because if it's not Kansas City, the rest are like okay. But if it's going to have to come down to Cincinnati, like those other football teams that won for no reason, then they're going to lose. If it's Kansas City in the Super Bowl, they're probably going to win because Patrick Mahomes. But if you get a Josh Allen in the Super Bowl, that can be an interception waiting to happen, or those little choke plays, which I like Josh Allen. I like the guy, but he's kind of like made some boneheaded decisions.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at when Josh Allen played the Buccaneers or when he played us, we had him scared. We had him rattled, but we just took off our foot on the gas pedal. And I just feel like taking it game by game for sure is one thing that we got to do. And like both said, every season is different, but I feel like going forward with this run, this late season run, I feel like just if we beat the Seahawks, if we sweep them, end up sweeping them, we're gonna be all right. We will win that conference, or not the conference, our division.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like division, I don't know what it is about the NFC West this year. It seems like they're not really stepping up to the plate, and we're pretty much the only ones giving them the issues. Like the Rams are what they are. They're falling apart. That's why we swept them, and we've owned them for the last couple of years. I mean, the Seahawks, I didn't see that coming when we first played them. It's like, man, they would have gave us a hard time, but we just came away like it was nothing. We made Geno look like an afterthought. Like
exactly, but if you've seen Geno after he played us, he looks like
different, like way different. Their running game is now that they actually got a good running back who can balance their offense. I think he's going to be the tougher test. Like they still got the weapons. They still have different ways to be creative, and that could be scary. But yeah.
I just feel like, well, I don't know what game it was, but I saw Geno frustrated like when he played us. And I'm going to give credit where it's due. Geno's been in this league. He knows how it is. That's why he's succeeding. But I'm just saying, if we put pressure on Geno like we did before and just get him scared and rattled to get that ball out, we're going to be all right. Me personally, I don't like Seattle. I envy them. That's the team that I don't like. So I really want to sweep them because it's been a while since we swept them.
It's been a while since 2000. Yeah. I don't know when the last time we swept them, but I believe it was like 2012
or something like that. I believe so.
Wait, 2012? Yeah, I think it was because that was the year that they didn't even have Russell Wilson, and wasn't it 2012? No, it wasn't 2012. It was 2011.
Yeah.
Because that was when they had Tavares Jackson at quarterback, if I remember correctly, because Tavares Jackson was their quarterback, number 7, and we were playing with Alex Smith, and that was the year we swept our division. That was the year that Harbaugh came as our new head coach and took us to the playoffs that year. And
no, exactly. I have a good feeling if we sweep our division and we get what seed will we land at if we sweep our division? We'll land like a 3rd or 4th, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like being the higher seed, we'll get the lower tier teams and we'll take them out and we'll be ready for the higher tier teams because we had to play the Chiefs. Yeah, we had a little hiccup in the road. We were in the game, but we shot ourselves in the foot. I don't think the Chiefs beat us. I think we beat ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. Like, okay, see, the next 3 games, the way how Leo said it, our next 3 games are at home. So the Saints, they've been an up and down team. It's like they got the weapons, but they're just very inconsistent, and they don't really have a quarterback. Like, no disrespect to Andy Dalton, but it just doesn't seem like he's the same guy from the Bengals days, not the same guy. Dolphins, I think Dolphins will probably be the tougher one because their offense is very explosive, and Mike McDaniels knows us pretty well, so that could be the tougher one.
I think that's going to be a real shootout, though, because if Mike McDaniels and D'Amico went out of that practice all of last year or for the last couple of years. So I'm just saying, like, it's going to be like who's the better team.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Which I look at, Dolphins are going to be explosive, so we have to play a shootout with them. The Bucks, I don't know what is it with the Bucks. Their offense is just not there. It's like their offensive line is worse than the Rams and Cardinals. Like Tom Brady does not have enough time in the pocket, and a lot of the injuries at the position, and there's not much of a running game. Leonard Fournette, he is a physical type runner, but if you can tackle that guy on the backfield, he ain't gonna get much, bro. We got some guys who can tackle him. We got Drake Greenlaw who can lay the wood on this guy. I mean, Dolphins, bro, they just have a lot of different ways to be creative. They got a lot of weapons. So
Yeah. I
if
for
I'm
sure do want to give my thanks to the Buccaneers though, because without them beating the Seahawks, I think the Seahawks will still be on top. But with them beating them, we're in the position we are because we're handling business. And I guess when next week we sort of kind of. I mean, we'll need to be rooting for the Raiders because we would want them to lose and we would want to win, and they'll keep us in first.
I mean, as much as I would like them to beat them, but do you really think the Raiders have a chance to beat Seattle, bro? Look, I mean, the Raiders have given up a lot of chunk of plays. Like,
No, yeah, that's true. But I
dude,
mean, if you think about it, throwback to when we weren't that great and people were like counting us out, say like our 6-10 season, we beat some high tier teams. So I feel like the Raiders, like even though if they suffer another loss or like their season is kind of like on the downhill, I just feel like it might be like that one of those teams where they can beat the team that is in front of them because they have the weapons, if we all say it, but they just don't know how to like mesh it together.
yeah, it depends on how they match up with that defense. But as far as all that, man, like there's a lot more to look forward to. We'll probably look more into the next games. But hey, man, maybe we'll definitely figure out something like next week or something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really want to start establishing something more of it, man, maybe we'll start getting you a YouTube channel. You can start building your own content. I'll promote you, bro. And you still play football, right? Or you don't?
No, as of now, no. I stopped last year.
So you did play last year at Sac State, right?
Last year, more like I stopped my like 2.5 years ago. I just coach football now because
I stopped playing like 3 years ago, man. Because I was playing my football for the. Dude, I was playing center, guard, played a little defense, but it's been like 3 years, and I've been getting a lot of recruits to come back, and I kept turning down those offers. It's like, dude, I'm not gonna waste my money and go travel around and not get paid for this shit, bro. My body's already at the point where I can't even move as much as I used to with all these injuries.
Exactly. I got offered to play at least at a low D1 out of college. I think it was Weber State. Mm-hmm. But my family was just kind of like, say you get hurt, you get kicked to the curb, they send you back, like you get everything pulled. So I'm just like, they're kind of like, it's time to be a big brother now. But I still tried it at the JUCO level. You know, I succeeded and stuff, but I just stopped for a little bit. And then my old high school coach told me to go coach high school, and I did. And then that was the COVID year. And this past year, I got to coach the 5 to 8-year-olds. So I'm moving up. I'm going to go to coach the 9, 10-year-olds, maybe get back into high school because I just want to show that knowledge to those kids.
Yeah, just show them what you're capable of doing, and that's just all we can hope for, man. Like, you know, just because you can't play the game no more doesn't mean you can just show the knowledge. You know, it's like there's a lot of guys that I've noticed, and they've always liked my energy. And they've always felt like I can definitely coach up some of these guys. And I'm always saying, man, it depends on my schedule because I work a lot, and it's hard for me to keep up a schedule. And it's like, this is why I do a podcast, so I can balance my schedule, and it keeps me more come up with ideas, you know. And then sometimes I just figure out other stuff. But when you play the game of football and you don't have that passion, maybe it's time for them to realize, hey, if he isn't coming back for those last couple of years, what makes you think he's going to come back? Like, there's no point.
No, exactly. So when my last game I played, I believe I got 2 sacks and a fumble. And I remember getting that last sack. I looked at the crowd and I just heard, you know, the crowd roaring. And I'm just like, yeah, I think my time is done. Like, you know, your body, your mind's telling you to keep going, but your body's just like, nah, you need to stop because like one day we're all gonna have kids and stuff. We're gonna want to be outside playing with them. You don't want to be that dad like, oh, my back hurts, my knee hurts.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
It's just like that, man. You know, the last time I played a single down, bro, the moment I knew something was wrong with my ankle, bro, the moment I knew this was over for me, bro, couldn't even play the entire season because I fucked up my ankle.
Yeah.
And they had to cart me off the field with that injury. And I look back at that time, dude. It wasn't no regret of playing the game, but I had to look out for priorities, and it set me back for 6 months or months for this because I had to get through surgery, get through all the stuff. I couldn't work for a while. I was dealing with some struggles, and then I started realizing I can't do this anymore, man. I'm not going to do this for free. I'm not going to pay $200 fees. I'm not going to do this type of stuff no more. It's like, I had my fun, and it's time for me to go.
Exactly. That's how I was. I was like, I had my fun. I had in high school you had all the rallies. You had like everybody saying like, "Oh, good game." Like, if you're in a small town like I grew up in, you'd have like, "Oh, hey, good luck." You're going against the rivals and stuff. I had my fun. I had the experiences. I tried college football, and I had my glory. And at the end of the day, I didn't want to do anything else for a career because I love the sport. I love sports in general, and I just decided to go something with the sport. In the career that I'm going with, you get to go with the team. You get to travel with the team. You get to be around the sport you love. So why not?
Yeah, hell yeah. Like, that's just how it is, bro. Like, some people may say, well, are you just quitting on us? Or you not want to play for it's nothing personal with everybody else, man. But I've actually dealt with concussions, and I've actually dealt with multiple injuries to where I actually played through the injuries and nobody never noticed. Like, I've actually had a fucked up shoulder and nobody even noticed that my shoulder was fucked up bad. And I wasn't even, dude, I wasn't playing at a full strength, and I was still trying to play this game, not making excuses. That was always my motto. I don't make excuses. I play through the injuries. And in today's NFL, a lot of these players, if they're hurt a little bit, they'll miss time. I didn't make no excuses. I sucked it up. If my shoulder was fucking dislocated or whatever, messed up, they'll pop that shit in. Or if it's not like the way it's supposed to move, I'll just use my other side and try to use it at the best ability as I can until my coach pulls me aside.
And that's the thing. A lot of players, like even in the NFL, they play with a lot of pride. Like, if they're hurt, no, I got to go put on for my team. I remember my senior year, we're in a bad car accident, and the seatbelt had torn my labrum because of the impact of going forward. And I remember it was my senior year in 2018. And my doctor told my family to step out and everything. And she was just like, "Hey, kid, like, this one's on you. You're calling the shots. Like, you either lose out on your senior season and don't play the rest and I get you some surgery, or it's not as bad where you need surgery and you can let it heal up with therapy." And at that time, I was like, you know what? Tape it up, doc, and stuff like that. I got 4 more games to play. I got to finish this thing out. And I was playing with a torn labrum the rest of the season.
Oh, that's a tough one, man. But yeah, that's just the grind of playing football. Most people that just think, oh, you're content creators, you don't know what you're talking about. You never played it. You seem like those guys on the web. And I'm like, dude, I played through injuries. I played this game. So it's like a lot of these risk factors, man. It's like,
no, yeah. And that's why some people are afraid. I look at them and I'm just like, hey, it's not for anybody because
not everybody can take it. So
yeah, because if you're not ready for it, you're gonna get popped in the mouth like me.
You're gonna get hit, bro.
Yeah.
Even with the pads on and playing in semi-football, bro, they allow those kind of hits. Those hits that the NFL does not allow, bro. You can hit just like that, and they don't even call a flag for that. But the point is, bro. So we're good for next week, man.
Yeah, I'm good. We should be good. I'll keep updated with you for sure. See on my schedule and stuff. I'm open for now.
Yeah, it's a good vibe, bro. Maybe we'll start building on every other week, man, just so we can click in, man. Like, you seem like a guy that knows the game of football just like myself, and we'll probably have to come up with some good suggestions. Maybe I'll try to come up with a good intro and then put you in between the area, dude. So far, you've done pretty good on what you're saying, and I can relate to you because we played this game before. So
yeah, no, exactly. I'm just another guy, another fan. Obviously, I'm trying to turn this into a career, but I love just talking football, man. Like, I hope the guys in here enjoyed it for sure. But
Some of them kind of enjoy it. We just gotta start making it a habit. That's all it is, man. But well, George, we'll definitely call it a day, and I'm gonna do my NFC West network part in a couple of hours, and I gotta let my phone charge. I mean, my computer charge up in a bit. And dude, it's been nothing but spectacular with you, man. Like, we just gotta make it consistent, and it'll get there, man. Like anybody else, man. George is just getting started, man, and I'm just happy to help him along the way, man.
no, yeah, I appreciate it honestly from the bottom of my heart. I'm just trying to get known out there, even with my podcast. Trying to just just get down, talk about some football, even live. I don't care. I'm just trying to make it a habit, because even with this, just having fun with this, you can turn it into a career.
Yeah, you could. You just have to keep pushing for it, and it comes around. Trust me, it will. But as far as all that, bro, we had a great show, but we're definitely gonna have to do this next week, man. So
most definitely.
So for the audience, bro, George is my other co-host for those Tuesday afternoons, man. So get used to this guy. This guy's gonna be around every Tuesday.
And I'm excited for it, man. Big things are coming up for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. And as always, guys, we'll see you guys next week, and we'll see George around. Big George.